All right, first of all, Kasim and everybody in the room, thank you so much for having us. This is a huge blessing, and I am so happy to be a part of this amazing event. I hope you all enjoy what we have to share with you today. We are here to talk about women in tech, this video series that Izzy and I have started called Head in the Cloud in the Community. So we're here to tell you a little bit about ourselves. Let's see if you want to take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into the content, Holly and I would like to introduce ourselves so you know who we are presenting the session to you. So first of all, let's start with Holly. She will tell you more about herself. She's based in Seattle, USA, and she can give the introduction the best herself.
So it's an interesting story, and I think everyone has an interesting story to share. I am actually from Las Vegas, Nevada, born and raised in the USA. I moved to Seattle, Washington with my family and ended up having the privilege of working at Microsoft. My background is hospitality, so I do not have a technical background. I work for Azure. I work on the Azure Product Improvement team. I am a program manager. I am also a mom of three, I say, because I have two little girls and a sweet little puppy that has gotten me through 2020.
Indeed. And so a little bit more about me. My name is Isidora. I'm based in the little country in Europe called Switzerland. However, before I grew up in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and I'm born in a little country called Serbia. So I live in three countries in Europe. And in case you know the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Awards, I've been awarded with the MVP title last year, November, basically for all the passion I have for all things community. And in my professional life, I'm a conference organizer, so I host in-person events mainly focused on Microsoft technologies. However, currently with the whole COVID world and the pandemic we're living in, our international conferences are currently put on hold, but it gives us the opportunity to present online for you there in Lagos. So we're very happy to be here today. So our session is going to be about Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community, and I would like to give the word to Holly to tell you more what it actually is.
So because Isidora and I both have a huge passion for community, my role in Microsoft since day one has been running community programs for customers, partners, and MVPs. And with the changes that happened, we realized that a lot of people needed something positive to think about. And we had this idea, even though we're remote, everything is remote right now. So we wanted to bring a bit of hope to people out there. And so we started the idea of highlighting various people in technology and the wonderful things that they're doing, goals that they're hitting, different side hustles that they're doing outside of technology, while also showcasing their passion for technology and what technology is bringing out to everybody. And it's actually given us a benefit in the sense that everything is virtual right now. So highlighting people from all over the world is no longer an issue. And it's brought a lot of happiness to a lot of people out there. So the backstory, first of all, I want to say for those of you that are listening that might be thinking, I don't want to run a podcast. I don't want to run a video series. I want to code. I want to create an app. I want to do web design. I want to write a book. Any of those things, they're great and do it. The idea that we had in showcasing what we've created is to show you how an idea, creativity, and passion creates happiness and power and empowers other people. So if you're not thinking of, what does this have to do for me? Think of it about, I have a goal. How can I use some of the tips and tricks being shared today can help me? That's what we're here to teach you today. That said, oh, you put it in here.
That's how it started.
It all started with a dance. We had this fun idea to do a TikTok video for some friends of ours that also run a tech podcast called Patch and Switch. So if you're looking for another podcast to follow, follow Patch and Switch. They're hilarious, two guys that talk tech. but we decided to have fun with them virtually. We posted this hilarious dance of us on TikTok, and it basically went viral with people laughing at us or with us. But we thought, oh my gosh, we're onto something. People are laughing. And if they're laughing in 2020, let's continue this journey. So I sent a text. I was so nervous. I was sweating that Izzy might say no. And I said, what would you think about running a monthly podcast or video series where we highlight the positive things happening in the tech community? And luckily for me, she said yes. And that is how Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community was born.
Yeah, thanks, Holly. And that's also, I think, the very important message that we want to give you here. It starts with fun, right? If you believe in the fun, if you have fun, then everything else will also, give you a lot more joy and passion and pleasure. Like Holly said, whether if it's writing a blog or it's writing a code or it's creating an app or a podcast or a book or a presentation, whatever you do, always make sure that the passion and the fun comes from inside. So looking at more the logistics, so how did we start? So we had the idea of doing the monthly podcast. And then from there on, how did we actually lift off? So first we started with brainstorming, right? Every idea comes with a brainstorm where Holly and I had to have the luxury to host this together so we can really challenge each other, bring out the best ideas out of each other. And we both believe in teamwork and that together each person can achieve more. So we also hope that you as students also really work together on whatever it is, if it's studying for your next exam or whatever you're looking to create. Always try to find people to work with together, because you can really, really help each other. And I think Holly and I are the perfect example of doing that. So always think of what's your mission, what are your goals, what are your ideas, and move on from there. So the first thing that we both wanted was our branding. So where do we start? Are we going to have a logo? Are we going to have a house style? We looked for something that would represent the both of us. And you can see it's a lot of pink, it's a lot of purple. We do like those colors very much. But also here, this is something where we asked for help. We actually had an external video editor who created the intro video and the outro video that we use for each and every episode that we launch. We will show you later our YouTube channel, so you can, of course, have a look yourself. Then secondly, what we also needed was hardware and software, and Holly will tell you more about that.
Excuse me, one thing I want to add to the branding for, you as students that are learning who you are and you're developing, I would say one of our episodes, we had a guest that gave advice that I take with me every day, and it's loudly be yourself. So being that we're in technology, often we're told, don't be so feminine. Why pink and purple? Why hearts? Why clouds? We're loudly ourselves. And when you're genuinely loudly who you are, you'll bring that into each room. Don't try and change who you are. Go and be okay with being your own genuine self. That's what I would say to that as your brand. What you need. So when this happened, I was in Mexico on vacation with my family, landed back in Seattle and was told you're not going back into the office. And so I had to think about how was I going to set this up? I had no idea. Being in tech, you would think, oh, of course she knows exactly what to do and exactly how to set it up. And I didn't. So I, again, went and asked for help. I went to our cloud advocates and said, what do you use? You video at home all the time. They gave me some ideas. So the first thing I did was I went and set up my office. I have it set up very business-like, but as others out there, you might set up office in your bedroom, you might set up an office outside, whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable and ready to be creative. That's what I would say. The next thing I realized is you need to have good lighting. So for me, my office, I was really fortunate. I have a window, so I have natural lighting, but others, they needed a ring light. You want to be able to represent yourself in the best possible way for those that are virtually meeting with you. And the others, I also realized I kept getting bad connectivity issues. What is going on? So after I had set up my office in the way that I thought was the best possible way, I realized I wasn't hardwired in, had to reset up my office. I share that with you to let you know the first go might not be the best. You're going to learn from every single opportunity. So I reset up my office, got a better router, got a better modem. And then I went and got a proper microphone so that people listening to the event would be able to hear me as clear as day. So there's a lot of lessons that I learned, and each one just caused improvements and helped me to learn a little bit more. So I would say each opportunity, grow from it.
Thanks, Holly. Yeah. And it's also beautiful how it's an ongoing improvement, right? It's not that before we kicked off that we had everything in place. We're still learning. Like even yesterday, as recent as when I replaced my light, I have a new lightning, because often Holly and I are on 9 hours time difference. So Holly's morning is my evening. So I mainly record in the dark, right? So it's really a lot of things that we put effort in to get it ready. And then in terms of planning, we also had to divide responsibilities and a timeline. How do we want to run the series? How much time do we each have available for this? Is it going to be in the evenings? Is it going to be in the weekends? So we made sure that each of us bring something to the table, that it's pretty equal, right? How much effort we both put in, and we looked at each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses. We learned from each other, and that's where we divided, like who's responsible for reaching out to the guests, who's responsible for setting up the meetings. Together we bring in the topics and the questions that we want to discuss. So yeah, it's really a joint effort, and that's something that we would like to teach you, that when you start something like this or whatever you're looking into and you're doing it together, define for yourself who's responsible for what and have a clear timeline. That will make it so much easier for you along the process, because each and every person knows exactly what is expected from them to have ready. So I think responsibilities and timeline is definitely something that we would like to tell you to have in place. And then last but not least, very important are the guests, and Holly will tell you more about that.
So when we think about branding is really important. Branding sets the tone for what your event or goal should be. And, for us, it was community and tech. And so we wanted to make sure that we are very diverse, we're very inclusive. So we don't just haphazardly reach out to people in tech. There's a ton of people in tech, but what do we want to land? So Izzy and I meet, and we talk about tons of people in tech, but then we also think about who were our previous guests. Do we have too many men, too many women, too many people that are in Microsoft? How can we highlight the MVP community? What about the partner community? What about people in IBM, Dell? So there's a lot of thought that goes into each guest. Then after we've selected a guest, I will reach out to them. A lot of people are nervous. The worst that anybody can say to you is no. And I want to really land that message with each of you listening. There's nothing wrong with asking. If they say no, that's it, you move on. And so after we reach out to the guest, Izzy and I will, like she said, we will think about what do we want to ask. So we put a lot of research into it, and we reach out to them, we let them know what we want to land, but what do they want to land? So if you're including others in your journey, make sure that you make their time valuable. What do they want to get out of this? Right? So we're only asking an hour from them, but we want to make sure that that time with them is important. Time is something, it's a gift you're never going to get back. And so make sure that as you're including others in your journey, whatever it is, that you make it valuable for them.
Nicely said, Holly. So yeah, indeed. So you said like we prepare for every guest, right? Do you want to tell a bit more of the insights? So how do we actually prepare?
We do. We do a lot of research. It's amazing what you find online, especially in this virtual world. So we'll go on LinkedIn. We'll see what their background is. We'll go onto Twitter. Do they have kids? Do they have a pet? What is their hobby? What is their passion? And this way we show each individual person that we truly care about them and highlighting their story. Stories are so valuable. And so when we reach out, we let them know, hey, we have done a little side work. Here's what, the topics are. Here's how we want to be inclusive. But what do you want to share? What have we not captured? What have we not been able to see? Is there a website that you're working on? Is there a blog post? Is there a virtual event that you're doing, or a fashion line that you're running? How can we help promote who you are? And in doing that, we make the calls pretty inclusive, very emotional, very passion oriented, and then we also include them in the marketing standpoint. You know, community is everything. And so we ask them to help promote us just as we go live and share the episode.
And then what's also very important, of course, in whatever you're doing, what is the message that you want to bring across? So that's also a well thought process that for every episode we try to define. So first of all, we always look at our guests. So what is important for a guest to have highlighted? Is it a certain code they have written? Is it a blog which is super helpful? Is it indeed a video? Is it a book? Like whatever they have created, what is important to them to show to the community? Then speaking of community, so whoever you are creating something for, you also have to keep in mind what is important to them, right? So what is interesting for the community? What is currently important? What is relevant? You will find that Holly and I, we touch on topics which are very current. So, for example, at Black Lives Matters, the movement with Samuel Erskine, who is a speaker here at the event as well, we spoke about that. We spoke about other sensitive topics. We spoke about homeschooling your children during a pandemic with Steve Buchanan, which is also a speaker at this conference. Yeah, we touch on many topics that we know that help people out there, as well as women in tech. And hope to inspire them, of course, to reach bigger goals. And then lastly, what's very important for Holly and myself is what message do we want to bring across? So something that's very close to our hearts is indeed, for example, women in tech, opportunities for women, job opportunities. So anything in your career, in your studies, whatever you are creating, that we have equal rights, equal opportunities. And those are topics that you will always find back in everything we do. And with that, I want to, what my point is to say is, if you believe in the message you're bringing across, people will really like see your passion and believe exactly what you're saying. So yeah, then another important topic is the recording itself, which Holly will tell you more about.
And this is pretty brief. I guess the reason that I wanted to highlight this is, in this virtual world, and as your students and you're growing and you're learning, give yourself a bit of grace for mistakes. What I like to highlight is that Izzy and I have run live events for years, and so we've become perfectionists in these events. We want them to flow perfect. We want the guests to arrive and leave knowing that their time was worthwhile in attending. But now that we're virtual, we have to be a little bit okay with ourselves if it's not perfect. Dogs are going to bark. Kids are going to come bursting in the door. The garbage man is probably going to come right when you're doing your first interview. And there's nothing that you can do about these nuances. So for whatever your goal is, or if you're in school, give yourself a little bit of grace to not be as perfect as you may want to be. But it's helped me to be a bit more flexible and a little bit more forgiving. And so that's just a message I wanted to land in this new world that we're in. And
I do quickly want to show that what Holly is talking about. So this is about the dog coming in. So this is one of our very first actually teaser videos that we were creating, or just really at the very beginning. And yeah, Holly, maybe you want to quickly tell what actually happened here.
Yeah, so we were trying to create a teaser video, and I had my new little puppy on my lap, and right in the middle of it, she decides to start barking, and I felt terrible, but guess what? It ended up being one of the cutest teaser videos that we have. And so even the imperfections sometimes turn out to be the best mistake ever.
Absolutely. And that's not just it. We also had in one of our episodes, we had a little peekaboo. So this is Holly's daughter, and yeah, I mean this is just what Holly tried to say, right? Deal with the imperfections, because this is how life is, right? Don't get insecure that something needs to be absolutely perfect. It is going to happen, and indeed in this online world, but as well in real life, right? It's not just online. Things are just going to happen, and yeah, embrace it and accept it, that's just who we are as humans. And yeah, I'm sure everybody understands that Holly's daughter just walked in as she's homeschooling, so lots of respect for that. So yeah, then speaking of post-production, so when our videos are done, then of course there's still a lot of work to do. We need to cut, we need to edit the videos, and all of that we do ourselves. So we use Camtasia, which is a software product you can find on techsmith.com. So I did not study, I did not learn. It's literally learn by doing. So I downloaded the software, I started playing around, and yeah, so we really do the post-production. We do ourselves of cutting and editing the videos that we do. Then once that is done and we have reviewed and we both agree with the video, then we upload it on YouTube, which I'm sure you as students have heard of. So we post all our videos onto our YouTube channel, and then the power of social media comes in. So we're both true believers of social media. I don't know about you, if you're using Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, any other platforms that you are maybe are not using, but the ones that we find very valuable for us in the tech community is definitely Twitter. We find a lot of the people in tech from all around the world active on Twitter, as well as business profiles on LinkedIn. And then we like to share it with our friends and our family and our followers on Facebook and Instagram. Then lastly, what I would like to highlight on that point is the power of social media is that it reaches so many people, but that you can also reach out to so many people, right? So we really have the help from the community to like our episodes, to share our episodes. So it also reaches their network. And this is, again, something like, don't be afraid to ask for help. So yeah, post-production is still a lot of work, but once we get it done, that's where you as an audience get to see the results on our channel. So also very important, Holly, please tell us more about the imposter syndrome.
So I don't know how many of you have heard about this new concept that is so true, imposter syndrome. We all have it in some form or fashion. And, you know, for me, it was, I'm not technical enough. How can I run a tech community episode? Or I don't have all the right equipment. Is my message going to land? Is, you know, what if my kids do walk in? Or, you know, does anyone else care about this topic? And we realize that if you just go with it, it ends up, if it's your passion, others are going to feel it, they're going to sense it, and they will get on board. And the imposter syndrome, you have to fight it, and you actually grow from it. Acknowledging your weaknesses is okay, but jumping into the discomfort of those feelings is the most empowering feeling that you can get. And so I would say, whatever your goal is, don't let the imposter syndrome stop you from continuing that goal. That was what I wanted to land.
Thanks, dear. So in the past half year or even longer, there are certain things that both of us have learned that we're still learning. That's the beauty of doing something like that. You will always look for improvements, for changes. You will always be learning something new. And then there are a few tips that we would like to share. So first of all, I said it at the beginning of our presentation, is have fun. That's something that I love so much about doing this together with Holly, is we really enlighten each other's day. We're having so much fun doing this. So all the preparation work, the execution, post work, being here for you, presenting online where you are at the university in Lagos. I mean, it's really a lot of fun that we have. And that's something I would really like to give you as a tip. Whatever you do in life, always have fun. Then secondly, for our series, Another tip for us was, to have the right equipment. So like Holly said at the beginning, like to have the lighting, to have the microphone, to actually have the tools to achieve your goal. And lastly, preparation. So even the best presenters out there, the best speakers out there, the best coders, the best bloggers, they also prepare, right? I mean, of course, there's something like natural talents or somebody needs to work a little bit harder, but everybody prepares. So that's something that, I would really love to inspire you that whatever it is you do, make sure you are prepared. No matter how often you've done it before, the better your preparation, the better the execution. And then lastly, let's listen to the tips by Holly.
Whatever your goal is, like I said in the beginning, remember that's your passion and run with it. And what I've had to learn is that your voice is important. People have often asked us, well, there's so many video series and podcasts out there. Why should I start one? Well, because everybody wants to hear what you have to say. So go with it. And the last is don't stop learning. Even as of this morning, Izzy and I realized that we needed to tweak our deck a little bit, tweak the message a little bit. So you're constantly making improvements. And I think as students, with each chapter, with each session, you're learning and you're growing. Take that with you into whatever it is that you want to achieve.
Great.
And let's connect. In this virtual world, we truly love community. We love to see what your story is and share our stories with you. So definitely connect with us on Twitter. We've provided our Twitter handles for you. So we look forward to seeing you in the future virtually.
Yes, and then so speaking of our show that we told you more about, the behind the scenes, how we started, how we get going. If you want to follow us, go to youtube.com, find us on Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community, subscribe to our channel so you will always get the notification when a new episode gets released. So when you look at the lineup, and you might not know these names, or maybe you do, but as you will see, the majority it are Microsoft MVPs, Microsoft regional directors, Microsoft employees, other community rock stars, not actual rock stars, like in a band or something, but we have a lot of people that really bring something to the community. And with that, I want to highlight two of our episodes because they're both speaking at the LASU event today. So one of our dear friends, Sam Erskine, who presented before us, he was actually our #1 guest. And Holly and I both agreed we love to have Sam on the show and to have him as our first guest. So go to our YouTube channel, watch the first episode to hear more about career and more about Sam. And episode 8. So that was an episode we did with several people from the community, including Steve, who also presents at the LASU event, where it was about homeschooling your children during the pandemic. So I'm not sure how it is for you, because I know you're all in the same room. So you're actually going to school in an actual room. We unfortunately are not all there yet, right? Some of the children still are having lessons at home. So that's a topic that we covered there. And then lastly, Holly and I, if we can say together, Ose, I believe that means thank you. In Nigeria. Can you say, Holly, Ose?
Ose.
All right, so if you have any questions, don't be shy. Holly and I are happy to hear from you.
All right, anybody like to ask a question? Laura, Oli, we really appreciate you for this insight, especially for some of the community leads that are here. So, okay, does anybody have any question?
Kazim, we have a favor to ask you. Can you get a photo of the whole room of students showing the hearts?
All right. So let's do that now.
I am literally teared up.
Can you turn the camera so we can see the students?
Yeah. We are taking it once again. All right. Yeah, I would like to ask a question. Yeah, can you hear me?
I want to say thank you because you students have me teared up right now. That was beautiful. Thank you for being a part of this episode.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to ask a question. Can you hear me?
Okay, Oli, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me properly?
Okay, she's not able to hear with the speaker, so just come ask the question now.
Maybe put it in the chat.
Or just repeat
Okay.
it.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, yeah. I would like to ask about the program manager role
Yeah.
at Microsoft. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and I would like to ask about the program manager internship role at Microsoft. Can you give an overview about that?
Yeah, so I'll tell you real briefly. There are a few different types of program managers. So I am a non-technical business program manager. So my role is a bit different than others. So my role is really to run community efforts, get feedback, and pull it back into the engineering world and share it for prioritization and planning. The other is a more technical role where you will learn how to spec a new feature. You'll learn how to get information on how to make features better, how to implement features, and how to help code the features as well. So there's a technical and a non-technical type of business or a program manager. As far as the intern role, it's an amazing opportunity. I would highly recommend if you get into the program, I am going to be an intern mentor for some of our program managers that are coming in. And as part of that role, we talk tech, we talk career, we talk ways to improve what you're doing and how to get connected with a Microsoft team. Last year, it's all blending together, but I think it was last year, I had the privilege of connecting with 3 of our interns who were looking to come into Microsoft and be a program manager. And we basically did a mock or a fake interview. And then at the end of it, my job was to give feedback live. It wasn't a real interview, but it helped prepare you when you go into the live interview. And I was blown away by how brilliant our students truly are. So if you have the opportunity to sign up for the internship program, please do it. We need all of the brilliant minds that are sitting in that room.
All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you, Oli. I will also like to ask for the program manager internship role. What are the qualifications you look for students that are applying for the internship that has technical background? What are the other things you look at before you consider them for the internship?
So I would say a lot of it is, what is your passion? What have you done? What have you done outside of the box? Microsoft is huge on diversity and inclusion, and part of that diverse aspect is creativity. We need creative minds. So when you're thinking about your closing semester project, make it unique, make it something that we could actually use, right? So a lot of the PMs or the interns that I interviewed for the PM role, they were doing some amazing things that were relevant in this pandemic. It was, they used AI to talk about data analytics for how we can improve virtual learning. There was others that were doing programs for how to help kids that don't have laptop devices to connect with teachers. How can we, use resources that are out there to help others? So it was very outside of the box thinking.
All right, yeah, thank you. I would like to ask the other audience if they have questions. So does anybody have any other question?
Planning and responsibility. So she said, line up, that's guess. Oli and Katanic, can you hear me?
They can hear.
Okay. Yeah. So we actually set up for that was branding. So actually, if you have our brand, then we ask what we need. We get the hardware, the software. So now, if you are not telling me that we want to plan, now planning in our community here in Nigeria is very, very hard. But the last part, which is line up, which is the guest, can the guest actually invest in our planning, make our planning more simple and more approachable to the community? Because our community in Africa is not tech. They are not tech oriented, but can the guest, the lineup, can they help us in more putting it down to the community? Thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, let's hope that one day, right, that's going to change in Africa as well, that you will get a lot more technical people. I know Microsoft, for example, they're launching their data centers in Africa, so Azure is there, right? And as well as for guests, let's hope that one day when this whole pandemic is over and we can travel, I already told Kazim I would love to come to Lagos and present live with you, do workshops with you, visit the university. Really love to.
I want to join. I want to comment on one thing. I think the question also was relevant to how do we pull our guests with us into planning. I would say you can do it, but be very mindful on how you do it, because if you add too much workload to your guests, it becomes more of a hindrance to them. So Izzy and I, when we think about our guests, we try to streamline it as much as possible, because that time ask is so huge. So yes, you can bring your guest on your journey, but just be very methodical on how you do it.
Okay, thank you so much, Izzy and Oli, for joining us today, for your time, and for putting in the plenty work to support the conference. But we'd just like one more request from you. The picture that we took earlier, it wasn't as clear. So do you mind again, to do the art thing again for us to have another picture of it together, please?
Yeah, we do the hearts again.
Hello, Oli. Yes, please.
Hey, second, please.
All students, sit down in your seats, make a heart. I'll just wait for you, Kasim, to say you're done.
I know.
So I think we're good now. Thank you so much, Izzy.
Thank you so much for having us. This was a huge blessing. I wish the best to all of you students.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you.